Ann Schockett, former president, past president of National Federation of Republican Women. She sits on the board of the National Anti-Semitism Task Force. She sits on the board of Save the Persecuted Christians. She is a real public official who hasn't gotten rich through being in public office and has dedicated her life to serving the country. We are thrilled to have her with us. And oh, by the way, she is one of the key people that is bringing Israel Appreciation Day to America in September. And speaking for the committee, we wouldn't be where we were without her. And welcome to Of the People.
It is such a pleasure, such an honor to be here with you. I have to say that Robert is a force of nature. This man, if there were 28 hours in the day, he'd be working 30. Right, Ericka?
That is very true. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. And we are all inspired by his work and his dedication to this country and also to Israel. So thank you, Robert. You're the one who gives us those shots of B12 and helps us move forward.
I appreciate that, but I will tell you, being a veteran of this, you are only as good as the people you surround yourself with, right? What you can accomplish through your own abilities is limited, and what you can accomplish through the abilities of others is unlimited. And I mean this. I know this is sort of a mutual admiration thing with you and I,
Yes.
and we didn't know each other before this project, so it's been a privilege and a pleasure working with you. We're not where we are without you, so thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so glad to be here, quote unquote, live in person. But basically, it's just a great time for people to understand, to comprehend exactly what is happening in this nation and throughout the world. And so this is why your podcast is so important. So thank you for including me.
My pleasure. I want to jump right in because I know you are a longtime political power player. I get that. You were at the 2016 convention, were you not?
I was at the 1981 too.
You're not supposed to tell people it. We're not age guessing, but I wasn't at the Reagan one, right? But
I had just been elected as a state committee woman a few years before, and I was so honored to be there because President Reagan happens to be one of the top American presidents in my book. So yes, I was ready to rock and roll in Cleveland, the home of rock and roll, back in 2016. And there was a sense of urgency there after 2 terms of Barack Obama, who set the stage for socialism. But now, of course, the country is even in worse condition.
So here's my question for you. How would you compare the difference between 2016, the energy, sort of the mood of the country, the mood of the convention, versus what by all description was just an incredible convention this year in Milwaukee? How would you, what's your sense on the difference?
There was a lot of excitement, a lot of high energy, of course, going into the 2016. But at that particular point, you didn't have as dire a condition as you have now. So I think, and obviously, if the Democrats keep on going, this country is going to be destroyed. Crime, illegals, inflation, the border, drugs, human trafficking, domestic terrorism, and the list goes on and on. This year, we saw our Republican Party united like I've never seen. And plus there were really exciting features. It pulled in more diversity, racially to economically, even a union president and a rap singer. I mean, I'm telling you, I think that basically this was the production of a lifetime. Yeah. Absolutely. But I think people are feeling it, Robert and Ericka. People are feeling it. We all buy the same gas. We all go to the groceries for the same food. We paid our rent. I mean, this is what people do, and they are suffering, and they wanted an outlet, and this just exploded at this convention. It was like no other convention, possibly in the history of our country. And Robert, this is why your podcast is so important, because it is no other time like any other time in the history of our United States. Perhaps the revolution, but no other time. That's how I feel. So that's my perspective on the difference between 2016 to 2024.
Got it. No, that makes sense. And I will tell you, and Eric, I don't know if you had also listened to the speech, but I will tell you that that President Trump's acceptance speech was very different in 2024, right? And look, had my vote in 2016, has my vote now, as Eric and I are fond of saying. And Ericka, please feel to jump in. I would vote for my dog over Joe Biden. And frankly,
You put an R behind anybody's name right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, in all seriousness, if Nikki Haley had been the nominee, I would have voted for her. If Chris Christie was the nominee, if Vivek Ramaswamy, I mean, even though I don't agree with all of their positions, any of them would be better than what we had. Yeah. And I'm the type of person that tries to keep the big picture in mind. But I was impressed by the unity and unifying theme of the speech.
Yes.
Right. And the hope and the positive outlook. And I juxtapose that. I was with you. We didn't know each other then, but I was at the 2016 speech convention as well. It wasn't in Milwaukee. But Ericka, what did you think of the speech?
Well, I mean, aside from it being about 45 minutes too long, other than that, I did think it was great. And actually, there was something I really noticed. And Ann, I would love to get your take on this, both of you, actually. When we saw President Trump come out for the RNC, his eyes look different. There is if you look back at other videos of President Trump, you see that fierce warrior look in his eyes. And there was this, when he came out, there was almost a humility that you don't normally see. Like, you could see that he was like feeling the love from people. I don't know. He just looks different to me. Did you either of you notice that?
Yes. And I think you expressed that absolutely perfectly. He had just gone through a life-threatening emergency. He was almost killed. And through divine intervention is what he believes, and so many people do, he is standing up there. And yes, you're absolutely right. The man was humbled, so much so that he had announced that his speech would be changed. And he felt the necessity of sharing his experience. And in a sense, I'm just thinking of this now, so please excuse me, I'm just talking, that basically there's an analogy here between the almost death of our presumptive nominee at that particular point and the death of our nation. And I think he possibly made that correlation, because we are in such dire straits right now that basically we don't know whom to trust. We don't know really how to move forward in the correct way. We are concerned about having this election stolen. There are so many things that are happening now, and people, as I say, they are on emergency alert. So I think he actually has such a heart, as did his parents, such a heart for this nation. And he wants to see it succeed. This is what it is. So that speech, you're right. And the entire convention, Ericka, meant the world to him. He's a family man. He loves his children. He loves his grandchildren. This is why he's doing what he's doing. He does not need to do this. He just doesn't need it. So I think what you said is absolutely, please excuse the pun, on target.
Well, and I think a lot of people really, I mean, I got to tell you, if they don't want a martyr Donald Trump, and they don't want, all of whatever, the Democrats or the left is doing their darndest to make us love this man and make him a hero to people. I mean, I'm a relatively reasonable woman, and I'm not going to lie.
Wait a minute. Can I jump in on that one? I'm just kidding.
My husband might have something to say about it. But,
yeah, exactly.
But when I saw Donald Trump get up and be like, no, wait, and pump his fist, and you just hear the crowd roar. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps and tearing up just thinking about it. And
you and the whole world. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen the videos of little kids in the middle of Africa, reenacting the scene. The whole world felt it. They felt the strength of that whole emotional moment.
absolutely.
The thing that I'm struck with, and it's not the attempted assassination, when we could spend, years talking about it, because there's just so many unanswered questions that at a minimum, it is beyond reasonable to question whether or not this was a conspiracy to assassinate a presidential candidate. It's not like it hasn't happened before. But what I'm struck with, and Ericka, you and I have talked about it, and Ann, that I have never seen a man take, no pun intended, this much incoming fire since 2016 in terms of all the forces that have been marshaled against him, from the government, from the weaponization of the government, to the media, to, if you look up, by the way, I tried before the show to look up a cartoon on the term autocrat, just to maybe put it up on the screen. The only thing up there, because they're controlling the media, are pictures of Donald Trump, right? And for our folks who are listening, type in the word cartoon of autocrat and tell me that you find a picture of anybody other than Donald Trump on there, right? So he has been so vilified, and then the lawsuits, right? Oh, the New York, the Atlanta one is the one that's going to get him. Oh, the classified documents. And then it's this really tortured lawsuit in New York where they had to really jump through these arcane hoops to take a federal law that the feds didn't even think rose to the level of prosecution. But then New York then added a few more charges to make it a state law and get beyond the statute of federal limitations on all of this. I've never seen a man take this much incoming fire, and for what? So your analogy, Ann, which I think, so there's, and if I heard you correctly, and please jump in afterwards. So you're saying that there's sort of a connection or a nexus between the near death of Donald Trump in an attempted assassination and the near death of this nation by the attempted assassination of what I would argue is Barack Obama and the New Democrats.
Yes, absolutely. They are definitely not Democrats. This is not the Democrat Party that our friends, many of our friends, and possibly relatives grew up with.
Sure.
Yeah,
they
that's
have
right.
long since abandoned these people. And what Donald Trump has done is pull back the Republican Party not only to its roots, but expanded those roots in embracing so many Americans of different backgrounds. And that, I think, was one of the really exciting things that my liberal, I hate to use that word, boy, they have, they're really, that's an incorrect term nowadays.
Yeah,
but
illiberal.
liberal, right. Liberal friends were just shocked. They were shocked about it. They felt mutilated in some way, because how dare they come to our side. It's not a question of coming to our side, Robert. It's not a question of just supporting Republicans, Ericka. It's a question of supporting the United States of America, and people understand.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And speaking of supporting the United States of America, the United States of America also ought to support Israel. And do you have a little bit longer with us? Can you stay for the next segment?
I would be so honored. This would be wonderful. Thank you.